The secret life and health of Prince Louis. Imagine a world where every time you wiggle your nose or make a funny face, millions of people around the globe see it on their television screens. Imagine that your family is one of the most famous families in history, and you live in a house so big it is called a palace. This is the life of a young boy named Prince Louis. For a long time, we have known Louis as the playful little brother who loves to dance at parades and wave at airplanes. He is a boy full of life, energy, and joy. But recently, the stories about him have changed. Instead of just talking about his funny faces, people started talking about his health and his future. It all started when his grandfather, King Charles, shared a message that made many people stop and think. People started to wonder if the little prince was doing okay. There were many rumors and lots of questions. Was he sick? Was something wrong? Today, we are going to dive deep into the world of the royal family. We will look past the golden gates to find out how Louis is really doing. We will talk about a health update that surprised the world, a special invitation he turned down, and how his parents are trying to give him a normal life even though he is a prince. This is a story about a family trying to stay strong and a little boy who is growing up in a very big way. Stay with us as we uncover the truth about Prince Louis. The royal family is once again the center of a lot of talk all over the world. Usually the news is about the big kings and queens or the grown-up princes. But lately, the spotlight has moved to the very youngest person in the house. Just a little while ago, King Charles did something he does not often do. He broke his silence and shared a very personal update about Prince Louis. The message he gave sounded very serious, and it made a lot of people feel worried. People who work inside the palace, the ones who help the family every day, say that the mood has become very quiet and focused. They are all watching over the situation very carefully to make sure the young prince is safe. You might be asking yourself, what exactly did the king tell everyone? How is little Louis feeling right now? We are going to look at all the newest facts about this health update that no one saw coming. Sometimes news like this can really grab people's attention because we all care about the children in the family. For a long time, the news was mostly about King Charles and Princess Catherine. The king has been working very hard to do his duties while also taking care of his own health. Princess Catherine has been very brave, too, as she deals with her own health journey while being a mom to 3 busy kids. But now, everyone is looking at Louis. When his grandfather spoke about him, it was a moment that no one wanted to miss. Everyone says that King Charles is a very kind grandfather. He loves to spend time with all of his grandchildren, watching them run around and play during family get-togethers. But he has a very special connection with Prince Louis. Louis is the youngest, and he has a way of making the king laugh. Over the years, we have seen them together in many sweet moments. They have stood on the big balcony of Buckingham Palace during huge celebrations like Trooping the Color. They laughed and pointed at the planes flying over their heads. During the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, they sat together and had a wonderful time. They even have quiet moments during garden parties where they walk on the grass and talk about the flowers. These moments show us a grandfather who really loves how curious and funny his youngest grandson is. Recently, the king started talking more openly about Louis. He told everyone how much joy the boy brings to the palace. He said Louis is full of beans, which is a funny way of saying he has a ton of energy and is always ready for a new adventure. The king loves how Louis likes to go outside and explore. He said that Louis makes every room feel happier just by being there. The picture the king painted was of a very healthy, happy boy who is doing great under the care of his mom and dad, Prince William and Princess Catherine. However, the mood became a little more serious in late October of 2026. Some reports came out saying that Prince Louis had to see a doctor for a breathing problem. It was called a respiratory condition, which basically means he had a hard time with a cough or his lungs for a little bit. When people hear news like that about a child, they naturally get a bit scared. But the people who work at the palace were very fast to tell the public that Louis was going to be just fine. They said his sickness was only going to last a short time. The young prince got a lot of attention from doctors and nurses. He was very brave and followed all the instructions to get better. Within just a few days, he was feeling much better and was back to his usual self, running and playing. There was never a reason to be worried for a long time. The palace leaders said they treated the situation with the same care that any mom or dad would give to a child who has a cold or a small illness. Even though it was a quick medical event, it reminded everyone that Louis's health is the most important thing to the royal family. Prince William has often talked about how much he cares for his children. He wants them to feel safe and like they can tell him anything. He shared that George, Charlotte, and Louis are taught to be very open about their feelings. They tell him every single detail about what happens at school, what they are thinking about, and what they did during the day. William even joked that sometimes they tell him way too much information, but he thinks it is very important to sit down and listen to them. He believes that listening helps them grow up to be strong and confident. For Louis, being healthy is about more than just not being sick. It is also about being happy in his heart and mind. The young prince is a very busy boy. He plays sports at school, works on art projects, and loves to be outside. His parents make sure he has a good routine every day. This includes doing his schoolwork, getting plenty of exercise, and spending time with his family. People who know a lot about children say that when kids feel loved and supported, they grow up to be very successful. In Louis's case, everything shows that he is having a very happy and healthy childhood. King Charles and Prince William both show that family comes first. They want to make sure the children have a very stable and quiet home life. Even though they are some of the most famous people in the world, the Wales family tries to be as normal as they can. They want the kids to play, learn, and grow just like their friends at school. Even when Louis had that small breathing problem, the focus was all on making him feel comfortable and loved. It didn't stop him from his studies for long, and he got right back to his normal life very quickly. The palace has made it very clear that there is no long-term health problem to worry about. In short, Prince Louis is healthy, active, and feels very secure with his family. He gets the same little sniffles and coughs that every other kid gets, but nothing very bad has ever happened. He is very close to his grandfather, his parents, and his brother and sister. But there is another update about the prince that might surprise you. This time, it isn't about him being sick. It is actually a very sweet story that shows what kind of person he is becoming. A new story about Prince Louis has recently caught everyone's attention. This story is very heartwarming because it shows us a glimpse into the kind of childhood he is living. It all started when Louis was 7 years old. He received his very first invitation to have a special royal job. A group asked him if he would like to be the honorary patron, or the leader, of the World Conquer Championships. This seemed like a very big and exciting thing for a young boy. If you don't know what conkers are, they are shiny brown seeds that fall from horse chestnut trees in the fall. In England, children love to collect them and play a game where they try to hit each other's conkers on a string. It is a very old and fun British tradition. The people who run the contest heard that Louis really likes to collect conkers when he is playing outside. They thought it would be a perfect fit to have a young prince who loves the game be the face of their event. The event also helps raise money for charity, especially for people who cannot see very well. It sounded like a great way to mix fun with a good cause. They wrote a very nice letter to his parents to ask if Louis could join them. Most people thought the answer would be a quick yes. It seemed like a very easy and cute job for a little boy. But the answer from the palace was actually no. They were very polite and kind, but they said Louis would not be taking the job. They even sent a little joke in the message that made everyone smile. But even though the message was friendly, it was based on a very important choice made by his parents. Prince William and Princess Catherine are very careful about how they raise their children. They have big boundaries to protect them. They know that everyone wants to see the kids, but they don't want that attention to change who they are while they are still so young. Louis is a prince, but right now, his most important job is just being a kid in primary school. His world is filled with his classroom, his friends on the playground, his homework, and playing with his brother and sister. He goes to a school called Lambrook School. There, he isn't treated like a famous person. He is just another student learning and playing. This balance is very important to his parents. Prince William has said that he wants his children to be ready for their future jobs, but he doesn't want to expose them to too much too soon. Princess Catherine also cares a lot about how children grow up. She knows that the first few years of a child's life are very important for their confidence and their health. When you look at it that way, you can see why they said no to the Conquer job. If they gave Louis a big title now, it might make him feel like he has to act older than he is. Could bring too much pressure. Instead, the family wants their kids to step into their royal duties very slowly. Louis has already shown he is a very funny and honest boy during the big events we do see him at. Whether he is standing on the balcony or going to a national party, he always shows his true feelings. Those small moments show us a child who is very lively, but his parents make sure he is not in front of the cameras all the time. They are very careful about when he is seen by the world. This is a very different way of raising royal kids than in the past. In the old days, royal children were given big titles and jobs when they were very young. King Charles himself was given many titles when he was just a little boy. He started doing official work for his mother, Queen Elizabeth, when he was just a teenager. He had to learn how to be a king very early in his life. Princess Anne also started her work when she was young. She is known for working very hard for many charities. By the time she was 20, she was already the head of a group called Save the Children. She didn't just have the title, she actually went to different countries to see how she could help families face to face. Prince Edward also grew up going to big events and watching how everything worked. He took his time to find what he was passionate about, like the arts and education. Even longer ago, in the 1800s, royal children were given titles just to show that the family was connected to different parts of the country. It was more about tradition than about whether the child was ready. But as time went on, people started to think differently about what kids need. Nowadays, the royal family thinks it is much better for kids to grow up slowly. They want them to understand what it means to serve the public before they actually start doing the work. This modern way of thinking is very clear in how William and Catherine are raising their 3 children. They have talked about wanting George, Charlotte, and Louis to be aware of their future but not feel the weight of it yet. Every time they go to a public event, it is planned very carefully. Each child is introduced to royal life in a way that is right for their age. The choice to say no to the Conquer Championship shows this very well. It might seem like a small thing, but it shows a big idea. William and Catherine want Louis to focus on being a child first. School, friends, and family time are the most important things right now. Royal duties can wait until he is older. This is a very powerful and quiet message. It tells us that even in a very famous family, being a kid really matters. Many people think this is a very smart choice. It feels balanced and thoughtful. They are helping their children build confidence and find their own interests before they have to serve the country. When we think about what Louis will be like when he grows up, it is very exciting. It is hard to guess what any child will become because they change so much as they grow. But for Prince Louis, we can already see some small signs. We can learn a lot from the things he says and how he acts. One very cool detail came from Princess Catherine. She said that Louis has a big interest in airplanes. During a visit to a school, she shared that Louis has said he wants to be a fighter pilot when he grows up. For a 7-year-old, this might just be a fun dream. Many kids want to be pilots or astronauts. But for Louis, it actually means something special because his family has a history of flying. His father, Prince William, was a helicopter pilot who helped save people. His great-grandfather, Prince Philip, was also very respected in the military. So when Louis talks about planes, it feels like he is connecting to his family's past. Catherine said his face lights up whenever he hears a plane in the sky. He even loves to build model planes out of blocks. This shows he is very curious and has a big imagination. People also notice that Louis is starting to act more grown-up during big events. Usually, he is known for making funny faces that everyone loves to see. But at a recent ceremony for Victory in Europe Day, he was very different. He stood very still and looked very serious. He wasn't fidgeting or moving around. He seemed to be thinking about the veterans and the history of the day. He even looked at his father to see how he was standing. When William stood up straight, Louis did the same thing. When William bowed his head to show respect, Louis followed him. This shows that he is starting to understand that some moments are very important and need respect. He is learning that he doesn't always have to be the center of attention. He can be quiet and show honor to others. This is a big sign of growth for a young boy. After the serious parts were over, he was still the same friendly kid. He smiled at people and was very polite. He is finding a way to be both a serious prince and a happy child. During the coronation of King Charles, Louis also showed how much he is growing. The ceremony was very long and filled with old traditions. It would be hard for any kid to stay focused for that long, but Louis did a great job. He sat next to his sister, Princess Charlotte, and watched everything with interest. He looked to his parents for guidance when he wasn't sure what to do. He listened to the music and watched all the historic rituals. He stayed calm and collected for most of the time. This shows he is absorbing the meaning of these big days little by little. He isn't being rushed into understanding everything at once. He is watching and learning from the people he loves. Beyond the big fancy ceremonies, there are also quiet moments that show who he really is. One time, he went to a charity called a baby bank with his mom. He was asked to pick out some toys to give to families who don't have much. He picked out a soft, cuddly toy to give away. It can be hard for a child to give away something nice, but he understood that it would make another child happy. Another sweet moment happened after a Christmas church service. As the family was walking and saying hello to people, someone gave Louis a small gift. He said, "Thank you," very politely. He seemed a little shy but also very happy. He showed that he has good manners and respects the kindness of others. Perhaps the most touching story is about when King Charles was feeling sick and getting treatment for cancer. Reports said that Louis gave his grandpa a very funny gift to make him feel better. It was a bright tie with dinosaurs on it. Louis really loves dinosaurs, so he wanted to give his grandpa something he thought was cool. It was a very funny gift, but it was also very kind. It shows that even as a little boy, Louis knew his grandpa was going through a hard time and he wanted to cheer him up. The king was very happy with the gift because he knew it came from the heart. These small acts show that Louis is growing up to be a very kind and caring person. Louis is still very young and he has a lot of energy. He laughs a lot, waves at everyone, and gets excited about simple things. That joy is why people love him so much. But we can also see that he is becoming very attentive and kind. He listens and watches what is happening around him. He is starting to learn how to adjust his behavior to fit the moment. His future role in the royal family isn't perfectly planned out yet. Because he is the third child, his life might look different than his brother George's life. But that doesn't mean it won't be important. If we look at these early signs, Louis might grow up to be a royal who is very warm and also very responsible. He might keep his sense of humor while also knowing when to be serious. He is learning that service to others is important not because someone tells him to do it, but because he sees his family doing it every day. It all comes down to how his parents are training him. William and Catherine have a very special way of parenting. They give their children the space to just be kids before they have to be royals. This is very different from how things used to be. For example, Prince Edward was given many duties when he was very young, and sometimes it was a lot for him to handle. Experiences like that have helped William and Catherine decide to do things differently. At their home, Adelaide Cottage, the children have a normal routine. They play outside, do art, have family meals, and laugh a lot. Louis has the freedom to explore his world at his own pace. He can build things with his toys or collect conkers in the yard. His parents are very hands-on, which means they are always there with them. They listen to the kids and help them understand their emotions. They want to make sure they grow up to be kind people. From schoolwork to quiet time at home, the children are learning how to be part of the world in a thoughtful way. They aren't being pushed into jobs they aren't ready for. William and Catherine also use their own lives as examples. They grew up with everyone watching them, so they know how it feels. They want to protect George, Charlotte, and Louis from feeling too much pressure. They introduce them to charity work in small ways that make sense for their age. They want them to understand that being kind and generous is what really matters. The goal isn't just about having a title or wearing a crown. It's about building confidence and being a good person. In a world where people are often judged very quickly, Prince Louis is being allowed to grow at a natural pace. He is not being rushed. He's being allowed to learn through his own experiences and by watching the people around him. No one knows exactly what the future holds for Prince Louis, but the small moments we have seen so far give us a lot of hope. Beneath those big, happy smiles and the playful waves is a thoughtful young boy. He is slowly starting to understand what it means to be part of a family that serves the country. He is learning about duty, kindness, and how to connect with people. Sometimes those quiet moments tell us more about the future than a big announcement ever could. It seems like the future of the monarchy will be shaped not just by old traditions, but by patience and love. As Louis continues to grow, he will surely find his own way to make a difference. His family is giving him the best start by letting him be a child first. This careful way of raising him will help him become a strong and kind adult. So what do you think about all these updates about Prince Louis? Does it make you feel better to know he is healthy and happy? Do you like the way his parents are making sure he has a normal childhood? It is very interesting to see how the royal family is changing and how they are taking care of the youngest members. People all over the world seem to agree that letting kids be kids is a wonderful idea. It will be fun to watch Louis grow up and see what he decides to do with his life. Whether he becomes a pilot or works for a charity, he will have the support of his whole family. Thank you for joining us as we talked about the newest stories from the palace. We hope you enjoyed learning more about Prince Louis and his journey. If you liked this story, please share your thoughts with us in the comments. We love to hear what you think about the royal family and their lives. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories. We have many more updates coming soon, and you won't want to miss any of them. See you in the next one.